go for it. You have literally a live lead on the phone. Maximize whatever you can before hanging up that phone. Hello, and welcome back to another video. My name is Preston. I run my own recruiting agency in the technology industry. Been at it for almost a decade, did over multiple 7 figures worth of placements, and happy to give value to you all. If you are as excited to get into this video as I am, please consider support a fellow recruiter. Give us a like, subscribe, click these bells. Really means a lot, as it takes a lot to make these videos. So let's talk about how to cold call, go over some best practice with scripts, strategy, so that you guys can absolutely crush it moving forward. This is based on my experience. What worked for me might not necessarily work for you, so please keep that in mind. And also, apologies in advance for any spelling and grammatical errors. If you're unfamiliar with who I am, my name is Preston. I joined an agency almost a decade ago to start my career. I started from the bottom, worked my way up to one of the top producers, joined a startup team, did not have any handouts for clients, built over $500,000 on my own desk, which is roughly 21 to 23 placements. Also hit the 100K per month club as well. Left that a little after a year, joined at the corporate side in a fast growth early stage company. Unfortunately, I ran out of money, but I was tasked of hiring engineers, design, marketing, and sales folks. Found myself back on the market. I'm like, you know what? I'm entrepreneurial, sales, biz dev is not new to me. I have tough skin. I know how to go out there and attack and get clients. Gonna, bet against myself. And lo and behold, did a little over $500,000 a year again on my own desk. Did not have any VA, part-time, full-time, any of that. And then of course, since then, grateful to say that we did multiples of 7 figures worth of placements over the years, changed my life, had no idea that recruiting even existed. Now I love it and excited to hear about other people going through the journey or just starting theirs. But in this video, let's talk about cold calling. So cold calling. In 2023, it's still, in my opinion, a very effective tool to contact decision makers and should be really something that should be used if necessary. I find, in my experience, upon a successful, positive engagement and conversation, the ROI, if you know what you're doing, is much higher and stronger than other methods, right? Because you're talking to the hiring manager directly and you can control and navigate that conversation. If you're afraid to cold call, I'm sorry, but it's a basic skill that any business operator, sales, biz dev, even a recruiter needs to know how to do. We basically get paid to just talk to people, talk to candidates. And if you're on the agency side, you're all still talking to people, but it's also the clients for companies and hiring managers as well. And if that's for any reason uncomfortable for you, hate to say it, but recruiting might not be the right choice for you. But again, it's something that you just need to do. And I think recruiting aside, it is going to be such a critical skill that you can develop to help you in all facets of life, develop confidence and stronger communication skills. So from my experience, there are roughly 5 steps to talk about when it comes to cold calling, applying that to recruiting. So number 1 is research, number 2 is engage, number 3 is consult, number 4 is present, and number 5 is a CTA or call to action. So let's talk about research. So research, use a lot of different plugins out there. There's just so many to even list, whether it's Apollo, Hire Easy, Contact Out, Gem, there's just so many. Even sites that, are free as well, where you can basically research decision makers, find their phone numbers, and then from there, that's where you basically go and you can start calling, right? Again, when you're calling, you can start out using your own phone number if you want to be scrappy, but there's so many other phone services that you can utilize for a small business if you don't want to use your own number. A lot of times when you call in, a lot of the companies will have their own number, especially if they're on the larger side. So typically you can transfer to the directory, you'll transfer to the receptionist, and you have to go around the receptionist to ask an intro to your decision maker where you can talk to them directly. When it comes to the directory, you can typically find someone's direct access line by searching for the first or last name through the phone directory, and then that's a way you can get direct contact with them. If they don't pick up, you can leave a message, you can call them again. If you find the direct personal number using any sort of methods that we talked about, now you're ready to call. When it comes to calling tips, right? People ask me what are the best times to have the highest probabilities of people picking up? And I think it depends on your business. I think it depends on your industry, depends on your market, depends on what country you're in. But best practices, it's either first thing in the morning, right before, they get to the office, or right when they get to the office before they start real work, lunchtime, early afternoon, maybe late afternoon, right before end of day, before they clock out. You have to kind of test and try, and you just got to put in that reps, and then from there you can collect all the data, and from there you can make an educated decision on what times work best for you. If you try in the morning, they don't pick up, try again in the afternoon. If they don't pick up, try again one more time in the evening, right? It's all about repetition and consistency. You want to really get into the right frame of mind. So if you've never cold cold called before, the worst thing is, I'm sure, getting cold called by someone else. And you've probably experienced someone who either talks too slow or sounds like a robot or just doesn't sound human at all. So you really want to be personable. You want to be positive. This, again, might seem common sense, but it just has to be said. Like, you have to have high energy. So amp yourself up. I remember when I worked at my staffing agency, before cold calling, I would go into the bathroom, look in the mirror, and just like talk myself up to like raise that energy. And it's something that you see a lot in TV shows and movies. And if you're wondering if people actually do that, I actually did that, and it helps, right? A cup of coffee usually helps, maybe some tea. Amp yourself up, motivate up, high energy, right frame of mind, peak performance, and attack. Be positive. A lot of times also, what you might think might not make a difference is just smile when you're talking, because sometimes when you're smiling, it really affects indirectly the nuance, the subtleties of your tone, how you word, the speech, and that can help a lot. People can tell if someone's in a good mood or if they're smiling on the phone. And I think people want to talk to people generally when they're positive, nice, and smiling versus like robotic, mean, and just inhuman. It literally takes like 10 seconds, 20 seconds to make a good impression, to have someone decide whether or not they want to continue talking to you for 5, 10 more seconds, or even just hang up on you. So it's really, really important to be personable and be okay with the rejection. Like, no matter how hard you try, no matter how perfect you come across, there will always be a handful of people that will just hang up on you, that will just say no, and that's okay. It's part of the game. You have to expect it, not be afraid of it. And when it happens, write them down, try to follow up with them again, call them again in the future, email them again in the future, and maybe you might be able to get them later, if not now. Don't, please, for the love of God, don't sound like a robot. You don't want to talk to a robot. Other people don't want to talk to a robot. They want to talk to another human being. Engage. So when you engage with somebody, it has to be quick, to the point. Again, you only have 10, 20 seconds to make an impression, to make your point. Things to highlight when you first talk to them. Who are you? Why are you calling? Somehow establish credibility. Where did you see their open job position? How did you learn about it? All these things are basic stuff that is going to be running through their minds when they're talking to you, especially from a cold call. And from my experience, there are a lot of things that you want to ask from the beginning. Two things that really helped me and help prevent wasting time is the position still open? Because a lot of times you might find a position or a company hiring for a position, or it might still show on their website, but then when you talk to them, like, it's closed. So you want to really find out, not to waste your time, is it still open? And does it directly report to you? Or is that person like the direct hiring manager? Because if they're not, chances are you're talking to the wrong person, wrong department, someone too junior, and they don't have the authority to make the decision on whether or not their team or company can utilize budgets or resources on a third party or external agency like yourself. So typically, like, you want to ideally have yeses to both these questions. Yes, the position's open. Yes, it reports directly to me. I am like the sole person with authority. I can choose to work with partners if I want to. Now you know you have the right person. If you have a no to either of these, you want to make sure that either they're hiring for other positions, they can introduce you to a colleague hiring other positions that you might help with, and most importantly, like, you're talking to the right stakeholder. So an engage kind of sample script, for example, that you can use is, my name is Preston. My team specializes in placing X. We saw that you were hiring an X for X and wanted to see if the position is still open, and does it directly report to you? So my name is Preston. I have a team that specializes in placing software engineers or front-end engineers specific in JavaScript. We saw that you're hiring JavaScript engineer from LinkedIn and want to see if the position's open, and reports directly to you. You kind of introduce yourself, establish credibility, you understand the context, or you establish the context, why you're talking to them, how you found out about the open position. If the position's not open or doesn't report to them, write a note in your leads tracker, and then you can periodically, follow up with them 2, 3, 4, 6 months down the line. Perhaps they might be hiring again, you can re-engage. If it doesn't report to them, you want to try to find out who it reports to. And aside from going back to LinkedIn or whatever site to try to find the right hiring manager, if you're talking to somebody from the company, that's the easiest way to get a name. So ask for the name, ask for an intro. Getting a referral, a warm intro is way stronger than a cold intro. Ask for their phone number, ask for the email address, just go for it. You have literally a live lead on the phone. Maximize whatever you can before hanging up that phone. Why? Because as soon as you hang that up, if you want to follow up with more questions, there's a big chance they'll just ghost you or not answer your emails at all, no matter how great you thought you came off on that phone conversation. So while you have them, you have this opportunity, shoot for the moon. If it's not them, ask for the referral, go further, ask for the name, ask for the contact info, ask for everything. So it prevents you from doing more work after you hang up that phone call. If they say yes to both questions, ideal scenario, let's continue the call. When you get the signal, right, then you want to move into the consult section. So this is where you basically demonstrate, you act like a consultant, your knowledge, your specialization, your expertise, and your position of authority. The point of this is to ask now questions about that role. Basically, the whole point is you want to ask questions so that you're on the same page with them. Well, who they're looking for is crystal clear to you, so you know exactly how you're going to source and outreach that person. Another way to think about it is this is the time and point where you can figure out how you're going to source this position. If your go-to product or platform is Boolean search or LinkedIn, or you use Dribbble or GitHub or Stack Overflow or something, you want to be able to come away from this conversation knowing who exactly you're looking for and what your plan is. If you leave this conversation and you have no idea still what position they're hiring for, you did not do this job effectively. You're going to then have to be forced to follow up with them, wasting your time, wasting their time. They're being hit up by other recruiters who are more effective, and they're just like not gonna maybe want to work with you anymore because you're just taking too much time. It's not going anywhere. It's not starting and being efficient. So the whole point here is to be like a professional consultant, figure out what they're looking for, what is their pain points, why are they hiring, where are other candidates lacking, and then for you to be like, you know what, I'm the man, I have expertise, I can help you. Here's a candidate, for instance, that can be perfect fit. Do you want to work with me, right? That's like the whole idea here. To kind of kick off this consult, again, it's just you asking a lot of educated questions and just segue right into the questioning. So in terms of the questions, again, it really depends. You can have complete control as to like how you want to do this, but it should range from questions about, you know, the company. So you learn more about who they are, the team, what they're building on, what they will be building on, the cultural X factor stuff, the position itself, anything else like submission, ATS, who else will be coordinating. And so here's just a bunch of questions that I usually ask, and you can ask a lot more than that as well. But the point here is that you want to take your time and ask questions so that you know this is for your own benefit. You know what you and your team have to do to find the right person. If you're not confident, you keep asking questions. And if, for instance, the client's like, I have to go and run the meeting, that's terrible. You can just do your best with the questions that you get. But I would always try to like set up another call so you can really go through this again, dig deep, and then just be even more confident, right? You know what they want, and you should be in no business of wasting their time, your time, and of course the candidate's time. The main point here is to ask as many questions as you can to be confident in understanding the position. Just what I talked about earlier. If you don't do this well enough, you won't find the right candidate, you won't do the placement, you won't make money, waste everyone's time, they're probably going to drop you, move on to other recruiters. It's that competitive. So again, questions range from the title to salary, what will they work on, who will they report to, must-have skills, deal breakers, type of company experience, like startup, legacy, established, educational degree, how long has this position been open, where have other candidates lacked, what are the interview stages, how do you accept candidate submissions, will anyone else review the candidates aside from you, etc., etc., etc. Once you do that, then you want to be able to present a candidate, right? So this is where it's really, really important that you're ideally niched, you're specialized, you already have a couple candidates that you know could be a great fit. And once you're confident that you know what they're looking for, you should already have a couple hot pitchable candidates that you have ready, and you can pitch their background, okay? And you really want to tailor it to what you literally just heard the client say in the previous section of what the most important things that they want in this candidate. And then you want to personalize your pitch candidate so that it fits optically and visibly and audibly, like it sounds like the perfect fit, like two Lego pieces coming together, right? Like, wow, okay, so you want somebody with like X, Y, and Z. Well, here's a candidate we literally just spoke with that also has X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. They also want this type of company. They want a smaller team. You have a smaller team. Is this the type of candidate you think could be interesting for you? Not only do you establish your authority from asking the questions, but once you're able to present an actual human being, a candidate that also is a great fit, it's like you got one level of confirmation from your questions, like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. He knows the right questions to ask. And then a second level of validation and confirmation where they're like, oh, wow, this guy's already presenting candidate. That's perfect, right? So if I was the client, I'm like, wow, this guy's coming off super knowledgeable. He's an expert. He already has people that I can speak with right now. Things are looking good. I'm feeling good. I want to maybe work with this recruiter. Doing this, it will essentially show the decision maker that you know what you're talking about. You can provide value off the bat. It's pretty straightforward, simple, connect, the candidate's background to the must-haves, what's important for the hiring manager specifically, and make it just sound super smooth and perfect fit. So here's like a sample script that you can use. Wow, so like this is a definitely position we can confidently help with. We've done this a bunch of times, or we have a lot of searches happening right now. One person that we recently spoke with that comes to mind, her name is X. They've been working at X company. They're specialized on X skills for X amount of years. They're fascinated or passionate about X market or industry. This is the type of role that they want. They have great leadership or mentorship. Like basically whatever their background is, you want to cater it and customize it to your client. End up with, does this sound like the type of candidate you would be interested in speaking with? You want to make sure you research the position that the client's hiring for beforehand, right? When you are calling in, you want to obviously have the company, the hiring manager, the contact info, but also maybe have like another column, notes of like what positions are hiring for, what are their must-haves, or a link to like the job page or a copy and paste somewhere so that you can easily reference that once you're talking to them. So that obviously if you do that adequately, you can already pre-prepare 2 or 3 candidates that could be perfect. Depending on the consult, maybe one might be the clear winner of your pitch candidates. That's the one that you use to pitch them. The pitch candidate, of course, you want them to interview them, but the biggest thing is you want to come off as an amazing expert who can clearly demonstrate what the client wants, finding candidate that seemingly is the perfect fit live on the phone, and then boom, now they know or they're feeling like you're an expert there and you want to be someone that they want to work with. So at this point here, okay, there's a lot of different CTAs, call to actions that you can do. Number 1, once that's done, then maybe you can segue into the terms, right? You can quickly confirm like, this is my direct placement fee, payable, guarantee window, or things like that. Are you okay with it? Does that work for you? Cool, great, I'll send it over to you. Please sign it. As soon as we get it, we'll get the search started. Or like if they want to negotiate, maybe you can negotiate on the phone and then you can send it to them. And then when you send it to them in an email or on the phone, if I send it to you, can we schedule another time to chat? Or if I send it to you, are you okay with us starting our process? And if they said yes, maybe you can just end the phone call with like 1 or 2 minutes about like your process, like how does submission work, ATS, email, how do you send candidates over to the clients, and just kind of outlining best practices of what they can expect working with you. Or number 2, you can try to set up another call, right? So before you hang up, like, hey, can we set up another call where we can go over maybe terms, we can go over like the process or best practice and how we can work best together. Typically, I call that like a recruiting launch call where you kind of go over any outstanding questions, you're on the same page with terms, you know exactly how submission is going to go, you can manage expectations. I love to do this when possible. Or number 3, if you can, right? Like set up a time or day you can meet them personally, visit the office space, have them show you around. I did this when I lived in New York and my market was New York, because meeting someone in person is a lot more powerful than virtual and on the phone, hands down, any time of the day. And if you can go in there, see the office space, it'll give you a better experience that you know exactly how to pitch and sell that company and job to the candidate. Not to mention opportunity, maybe you can get some free merchandise or swag, but most importantly, build that relationship with the hiring manager, which is where the money's at in this game long term. Final tips, right? If you talk to a client and they want to just hang up on you, or you go through the consult and they're like, you know what, we're actually not working with other recruiters. Any situation where you're confronted with no, to me, that never means no, that means not right now. Just because they don't work with the recruiter now doesn't mean they're not going to work with the recruiter forever into the future. So it's really important you stay organized, you label them, and you follow up with them in the future. They might be hiring more, they might be in a situation where they're scaling, right? They raised a ton of money, they're scaling, and now they need all the help that they can get. So always be professional, keep it positive, stay organized, and follow up with them. I hope it becomes clear why it's more important now to be specialized or focused on a niche so that you can come off as a consultant of credibility and expertise who knows what they're talking about. If you're going out there and you're like, I'm gonna pick up any job I can, you're gonna fumble a lot on the phone call, you're gonna come off not confident, they're gonna start saying skills and stuff like that you're just not familiar with, you're hearing for the first time. Tons of opportunities for you now to get stunted and fumble upon your words, coming off just not professional at all, or someone that doesn't have any credibility. Like that is the fastest way for you to lose a client, for them to walk away. If you're focused on one market, you start to know it really well, from the talent, from the insights, from the data to the market trends, like the must-have skills. The more that you can dig deep, the better that you can talk about it, and the better you can convey confidence with whoever you're talking about. It really matters on how you come off on the phone call. And with me and my team, even if it was myself in the beginning, I would always practice or try to role play with myself, try to think of different objections and scenarios that you can experience and try to pre-prepare different responses or how you can kind of navigate. At the end of the day, the best way for you to figure out what to do is just by going through the reps in real time. Yeah, you're gonna be horrible the first 10, 20, 50 times, but then you're gonna be collecting data, then you're gonna be getting better and smarter and know exactly how to navigate every situation so that when situations do arise, you know exactly what to do and what to say. Last tip, always try to get some sort of confirmation. Confirmation on reviewing engagement letter. So after the whole phone call, if I'm gonna send you the engagement letter, would you be able to read it over and by a certain time or time range and sign it, or let me know if you have any questions, right? Confirmation on the next recruiting call or meeting. So try to get a call scheduled before you hang up, because if you hang up and you forget to do that, then you have to email them again, call them again. There's a low chance that they'll respond to you, or there's a low chance you'll get them on the phone again and you lost your chance. So again, you have them on the phone, shoot for the moon, do whatever you can to extract as much value and confirmation as possible while establishing yourself as an expertise, a consultant who knows what he's doing that can provide a tremendous amount of value, and be personable. Don't be a robot. Again, I hope this helps. Cold calling is something that I think happens a lot less versus 10 years ago when I first started, but there's still so many great tools and ways you can find somebody's personal or professional phone numbers. It's still widely used even in sales and business development around the planet. And so it's very much something that you need to embrace and have as a tool as part of your arsenal than something to be afraid of, because talking to someone live is the best chance to get what you want than having to send an email or follow up or do all these things where you can easily lose people. When you get them, shoot for the moon, do your best, practice, role play, and I'm sure you'll do fantastic. So hope this helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. I hope I was able to provide you value. Thank you so much again for your time. We'll see you on the next one.